None, sir. Naturally, everybody can formulate their own opinions, and I know I was certainly not invited in the capacity that he was, and I think that time will probably give a more clear picture, and you're aware that naturally that's what the trial is about. For this preliminary, we had our motions, we had our homework done, we tried to stay in the framework of law. If you recall, a press conference was called, naturally, and if you wanted to get the indictments, why the press conference? You could look at that one way or another. And then we had the preliminary set for 10 o'clock here on August the 8th, which is today, and last Wednesday afternoon, or Wednesday afternoon of this week, they moved at the last minute and went before the grand jury. And as you know, Wednesday was the last meeting day of the grand jury. And of course, they have the power to call them in any time, the Attorney General does. So basically, this eliminated the preliminary, which deprived me naturally of certain rights, discovery rights. I think you are well aware of the motions and all legal action that we follow.
In Governor Wallace's office with several members of the legislature to discuss possible of that meeting and any other kinds of proposals that might be made. This morning we made the administration a further offer that in addition to the funding of the Partlow School, which we brought to the legislature's attention yesterday, that we would fund from the Educational Trust Fund some $4.5 million of other educational functions which are now in the general fund. This would bring the total of the educational functions to be funded through the Educational Trust Fund to $23.5 million. We suggested to the administration leaders this morning that we felt that this was going more than halfway in an effort to solve the problems. The administration yesterday in discussion recommended that we agree to diversion of the residential section of the utility tax to the general fund. This would amount to somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million permanent diversion from the general fund to the Special Education Trust Fund. This morning we informed the administration that this diversion was unacceptable, but that we
contact with my people. I believe our people made contact with them. The compromise that Mr. Hubbard offered was to take over Partlow, but we wouldn't agree to that because education doesn't know anything about hospitalization, and 90% of Partlow is hospitalization and 10% is education. Speaker of the House McCorkadale made a suggestion in the presence of all of these legislators, Mr. Hubbard, which everyone thought was accepted, really, and I would say tentatively at least. And that was that around $21 or $2 million from education fund matters in mental health that are education oriented, and that on the utilities tax, $20 million of the residential money would go to the general fund to go to the highway department, and we would let things stay as they were, in that we would continue to get by with the same amount of money. That is the same type of taxes that we are now getting by with. Everyone thought that that was accepted, and I would like to point out that they came here, but evidently that agreement is off.
brief summary of the opinion is that any candidate can campaign for as many offices as he or she desires. However, a candidate's name can only appear on the ballot once. In the event that a candidate does campaign for more than one office, and he does not remove his name from all but one office, the candidate's name will be placed on the ballot for the office for which he last submitted a statement of candidacy. The second opinion refers to what effect the pending local legislation will have on the September 2nd, 1975 city election. It states that the pending legislation will not affect the September 2nd, 1975 city election.
Yeah? Jim Robinson, how you doing? Fine. Listen, I need to talk with you about this matter of the King Hill sewage. We're getting down to the point now on these sewage contracts where we've got to mesh our engineering with your folks and our folks and get the job done. And the question is, do you know if there are any funds available through EPA to help us with this? If you don't, if they're not, then there's a possibility that some are available through CD funds. Yeah. Okay. Anytime soon, but what's the gist of your problem, Hoy? What's the problem? No, with the consortium thing. Okay, what can we talk about it now? Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like it's pretty far in the process, and it looks like it's going to be set up. You know, with all the. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the 10 government's going to set it up, and it looks like it'll work all right. Okay, pal.
Mayor Robinson, why do you want to be mayor again?
I see an opportunity for a city of people to put a government back together piece by piece, which is a unique opportunity. Since 1914, the people of our community haven't had the opportunity to rebuild their government piece by piece, and now they do have. And I predict that the people with proper information and support and dedication will do the kind of a job that will make this city grow into the future, and will attain the greatness that is ours.
What, in your opinion, is the most serious problem facing anybody who would become mayor of the city of Montgomery?
Matter of fiscal responsibility and holding the line on spending and making sure that we get the money's worth for the dollar spent.
Of course, I've always got a great belief in states' rights, and that would apply to athletics too. In other words, our situation at Auburn, our football program has been very productive, not only from the standpoint of winning, but also making money. and furnishing the other parts that Coach Haley so aptly described today, furnishing money for the rest of the athletic program. So I would hate to see Auburn cut down in any way, like limiting the coaching staff to 8 coaches and 1 head coach. Well, I think we have to start with the 2 starters that are back with us. Rick Telliard, Lee could be one of the best tackles, defensive tackles in the Deep South, if not the nation. And Liston Edens, a senior in from down at Bratt, Florida, right across the line from Atmore, as a matter of fact, could be one of the best and finest defensive ends that we've had in some time. They have to be to consolidate and furnish the leadership for this Auburn defense. As a matter of fact, from right here in Montgomery, Lee High School, we count on him, not only for leadership, but good, solid linebacker. And a boy named Chuck Jones from Lake Wales, Florida, who played a little bit last year. As I mentioned today, our schedule and games that we won last year was just not conducive to gaining a lot of experience or developing depth, because we had to keep the best we had in most of the game. So, and then, of course, Rick Freeman at safety. Rick Neal's been moved back there at safety. Lance Hill, Glenn Ward, all of those fellows we count on to.
You know, Norman, let's face reality in politics, and of course you all here have covered the scene a long time, and as you know that probably the Public Service Commission today, during the inflationary times and the problems that all state regulatory agencies are faced with across the nation, and it's all tied in with your national energy problem, that we are one of the few state agencies that are elected statewide, state regulatory agencies. In 37 states, naturally, they are appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate as the Federal Power Commission. And this is an office, even whether it be I or an associate member. If you start out running, you start out with a large portion of the vote probably against you because of the unpopularity of the office. But I will say this, that I had hardcore political strength in the state of Alabama if I had desired to run again, and I don't think anyone can question that. I come from a vote-heavy section of the state. I have always had my share of organized labor support. I've had my share of the black support and the rank-and-file working people. And I felt like this, that I could have, had I desired to run next spring, I felt like naturally I would have had opposition, but I also felt like that I could have won the race. And you say, what effect does that have on you in time to come? Well, anytime you do that, and you're 43 years of age, and you can book a pretty solid victory in a statewide race, even though you're faced with a runoff, naturally, everybody's going to say he's a potential contender for a higher office.
I do not see how we can justify charging a child in public schools a fee, whether we call it a workbook fee, a gym fee, a laboratory fee, a locker room fee, or whatever. And I feel very strongly about this. And we've had some legal skirmishes. We hadn't won yet, but the battle's not over. Now, this is a matter that the legislature should address itself to. And I hope and I believe that this new legislature will rectify that. I believe the law that's on the books that permits this not only is not right and is unwise and is not only a hardship on the people that has to pay them and the families that have to pay them, but it's a hardship on imposing that duty on teachers.
The next priority is going to be vocational and technical education, if I have anything at all to do with it. And this covers the broad spectrum of occupational education, really, career-type education. We're also going to place much more emphasis on the 2-year institutions on the post-secondary level. When you talk about having 800,000 students in your schools, and you realize the fact that only 12% of these young people are going to graduate from a 4-year university and a 4-year college, and this is a proven fact and it's not been disputed. That means that 88% of the young people are not going to have the advantage of a college degree when they start looking for a job.
That goes for salaries, that goes in increasing the free textbook fund, that goes in the matter of retirement, medical insurance benefits, and the matter of doing away with fees that have to be paid. That's going to happen. Additional teacher units, more vocational teacher units, more special education teachers, more special education teachers, and that can, anybody wants to start planning on that, as Dr. Hubbard talked to me the other day, can do so, because that's going to be provided in the budget. The matter of upgrading our transportation, and of course being bus drivers and other school personnel, the upgrading medical education in Alabama, the junior colleges, the technical schools, and all phases of education will be upgraded in the budget that the governor will submit to the legislature of Alabama.
Although Governor Wallace was not specific in his remarks today, educators say they got the message, mainly that their legislative program is in good shape. Governor Wallace said he has not yet decided whether he will call a special session for education, but he told the educators that a Wallace administration has never disappointed education. This is George Mitchell, WSFA TV News at the AEA Convention in Birmingham.
Thank you, Jerry. It's good to be home. We have a jet lag of several hours, which means we've been up several hours longer than you good folks. I do appreciate you going to the trouble and taking the time to come out and say hello. Because we are glad to be back in, of course, Alabama. We were in Scotland today and all the way back to Alabama. So it's good to be back in Alabama. I had the pleasure of seeing a great number of people in Europe, the head of state, high officials in the government. They know about our state. Well, it's almost 12 o'clock here tonight, and they passed the general fund budget, and the educational budget hasn't passed, and in my judgment, it ought to pass. The bill came over from the House, and the Senate didn't accept it like it was sent from the House on the last day. And as a consequence, had to go back to the House, and now, of course, the time limitation is such that I'm not sure at this moment as we're talking whether we will get one or not.
Do you think the problem has been that the legislature has just done nothing for so long that it's doing this?
I wouldn't say that they haven't done nothing because they have done some things, but I still say that we ought to have the budget. It went from the House to the Senate, but now it's come back from the Senate, and as a result of that, we have this tie-up.
If they did not pass the general, or rather the education trust fund budget, would you call a special session to get it passed?
Well, I'm not sure what I would do, but we'll have to make that decision a little bit later, but I'm going to operate under the Attorney General's opinion that I believe is forthcoming tomorrow, although I don't know what will be in it, but I've discussed it with him about operating an essential function of government. And when the legislature fails to act, the governor can, in my judgment, continue to operate the essential functions of government.
You've been up here pretty long today. Are you tired now?
No, I'm not tired. I cannot walk, and therefore I don't get as tired as people that walk all the time. But I've been in the office here over 12 hours, and I can stay longer if necessary.
What do you think that says about people saying things you're not being physically able to hold an elected office?
Well, they've been saying things about me ever since I got in politics, and I'm still here. I have conferred with the Attorney General and discussed this matter even before today because I anticipated that this situation might arise. I have this day addressed an opinion, a request rather, to the Attorney General regarding the operation of state government in case the legislature did not pass a general fund budget or an education budget. I have also discussed with the Attorney General in the past a number of days and weeks because this possibility loomed in front of us, and I wanted to be ready for any contingency that arose. And I believe, from having discussed with him and having studied the law on this subject, that the Attorney General is going to have us an opinion tomorrow, I believe, according to Mr. Solomon, and an anticipation that that opinion is going to allow the governor of Alabama to see that Medicaid patients are taken care of, the aged and the infirm, the blind, the highways continue to be built, and employees continue to be paid, the mentally ill will continue to be looked after. I have drafted the proper executive orders to issue tomorrow in case the budget does not pass, and in anticipation of his order.